Death toll from yesterday's multiple terror attacks rise to 290, leaving 500 injured. Government analyst says the explosions at the 3 churches and the 3 hotels were carried out by suicide bombers. 24 arrested in connection to the terror attacks. An emergency meeting between the President and the Prime Minister. Party leaders to meet at the Parliament in the evening.
We're now joined by News First Charlene Benedict for more details on these explosions that took place yesterday.
Thank you very much, Portia. Now, of course, today began as a very sad day for Sri Lankans as well as citizens of the world over. Now, speaking on the bombings that occurred yesterday, the government analyst has confirmed that 6 of the 8 bombings that occurred in Sri Lanka yesterday were suicide bombers. Now, government analyst Dave Valianga said that the attacks on the 3 churches and 3 leading hotels in Colombo were carried out by suicide bombers. The death toll following the string of bombings that occurred at 8 locations in the island, of course, has risen, currently stands at 290. Police spokesperson SP Ruan Gunasekara said that over 500 people have been injured in the bombings that occurred yesterday. 261 people are being treated for their injuries at the Colombo National Hospital. Now, security forces continue to conduct operations to arrest suspects connected to the incidents that occurred yesterday. These operations are being conducted island-wide. Now, according to the police media spokesperson SP Ruan Gunasekara, during the last 24 hours, police have managed to apprehend 24 suspects in connection to these bombings. And these suspects are also being questioned by the Criminal Investigation Department. The CID is currently in custody of these suspects. 2 suspects were arrested at a lodge in Dambulla. They too are being questioned by the CID. Now, a car believed to be used by the suspects to carry out the attacks, as well as a van suspected to have been used by them, were seized in Dematagoda and Vallavatta. Security forces inspected a house in Partharot in Keselvatta, Panadura, said to have been rented out to the suspects for a period of 3 months. That revelation came following initial investigations. They have revealed that this house was rented out to the suspects for a period of 3 months. Our correspondent said that metal balls used to manufacture these explosives were found inside that house. The Sri Lanka Army stated that over 1,000 army personnel have been deployed to ensure security in Colombo. The Sri Lanka Air Force has been tasked with providing security to the Bandaranaike as well as the Mattala international airports. Now, the Sri Lanka Air Force media spokesperson, Group Captain Gihan Semiratne, said that the public can obtain information regarding their flights and other details from the airport by contacting the number 116. Once again, the number to contact for details from the Bandaranaike or the Mattala International Airport regarding their flights and other details from the airports is 116. Now, a special operations center has been established at the police headquarters, the Ministry of Defense and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Information on the incidents that ensued yesterday can be obtained from the Ministry of Defense. The contact number of the Ministry of Defense is 0112 322 485. Police media spokesperson SP Ruan Gunasekara said that information on foreign nationals in the country and information on foreign nationals who were reported to be victims of yesterday's bombing can be obtained by contacting the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The number to be contacted is 0112 32 3015. Now, also in some incidents that took place today, 152 T-56 bullets were seized from the Kadagolla area in Diatalava. Now, Sri Lanka Air Force said 9mm pistol ammunitions were also seized. 3 people have been arrested in connection to this incident. The arrested suspects include the father and 2 of his children. Now, of course, following the bombings that occurred in Sri Lanka yesterday, today we contacted the spokesperson of Sri Lanka Police, SP Ruwan Gunasekara, for an update regarding the investigations that are being conducted into this incident. These were his comments.
When speaking about the investigations, they are being conducted by a number of units centered around the Criminal Investigations Department. Within 24 hours of the incident, we have been able to uncover a lot of details. We have arrested a number of suspects based on the revelations. I must specially state that there are 24 suspects in the custody of the Criminal Investigations Department. 2 more suspects were arrested for questioning from Dambulla last night. All of them are Sri Lankan nationals. We must conduct more investigations into the incident. I cannot reveal their names because it may affect the investigations.
Police curfew that was imposed in the island last evening was lifted this morning. Speaking on the matter, the police spokesperson had this to say.
Police curfew was imposed at the time to keep the peace in the country and also because it was required for the investigations to be conducted. However, steps were taken to lift the police curfew this morning. Officials will decide as to if police curfew should be introduced again in the coming hours.
Now, concluding his visit to Singapore and India, President Maithripala Sirisena landed in the island last night. After arriving in the island, the president held a special discussion with the Prime Minister this morning. The discussion held at the Presidential Secretariat focused on the current situation in the country following the deadly bombings in the island yesterday. Now, also a special party leaders meeting has been called this evening to hold discussions on the current situation in the country. Reporting on the matter is News First parliamentary correspondent Shripal Vanyaraj.
Considering the situation in the country, Parliament will convene at 1 p.m. tomorrow. According to standing orders, it is Prime Minister who would make the request to Speaker to convene Parliament. An extraordinary Gazette notification must be issued in this regard. Parliament was due to convene on the 7th of May. General Secretary of Parliament Dhammika Dasanayake said the party leaders meeting will be held at 2 this afternoon. The General Secretary said that the party leaders will agree on the discussions that will be conducted when Parliament convenes tomorrow.
Now, issuing a joint statement, the bishops of Colombo and Kurunegala of the Church of Ceylon says they are shocked and deeply saddened by the barbarous acts of violence brought on innocent worshippers, children and women and men. The release says, quote, "We call on the government to institute quick action to investigate thoroughly these incidents and bring the perpetrators to justice, to ensure the safety of places of religious worship and to prevent any individuals or groups from taking the law into their own hands or provoking acts of intimidation or violence against any community or group." It added, quote, "We call on all Sri Lankans to be mindful at this time and to act with patience and understanding. We ask for the continued support of all security and emergency services in ensuring public peace and in providing care for the affected. The motives of those twisted and wrapped minds who planned and executed such appalling acts should very well be to destabilize the country and to cause damage to the unity and harmony of our nation."
Now, in your local news, the highest death toll and injuries were reported at the St. Sebastian's Church in Katuwapitia, Negombo. Many of the injured are still receiving treatment at the Negombo General Hospital. The director at the Negombo General Hospital said remains of 104 people are lying at the hospital. More than 100 people are receiving treatment at the hospital, while the remains of the deceased will be handed over to the relatives following the magisterial inquiry. Meanwhile, remains of 7 victims are currently lying at the Ragama Hospital, while 32 are currently receiving treatment. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs issued a communique about the foreign nationals who have been identified as deceased based on the information provided by the National Hospital in Colombo.
The fatalities are 3 from India, 1 from Portugal, 1 from Turkey, 3 from the UK and 2 holding US and UK nationalities. Additionally, while 9 foreign nationals are reported missing, there are 25 unidentified bodies believed to be foreigners at the Colombo Judicial Medical Officer's morgue. The release says that 19 foreigners were receiving treatment at the National Hospital by 6 p.m. yesterday.
The Ministry of Justice and Prisons Reforms has requested all coroners to carry out post-mortem examinations expeditiously on those killed in yesterday's terror attacks. The ministry said that post-mortem examinations should be carried out in order to facilitate the release of the bodies to the relatives. Therefore, the ministry requests coroners to carry out the post-mortem examinations at the respective hospitals where the remains of the deceased are kept. Meanwhile, a police curfew imposed last evening was lifted at 6 this morning, and the day-to-day activities of the general public are slowly returning back to normalcy.
Lifting the police curfew, the government announced that the public institutions will continue to function as usual. Although employees attempted to report to work, there was a lack of public transportation services this morning. However, according to our correspondents, the public transport services are gradually returning to normalcy.
Minister Sajid Premadasa visited the blast site at the Kochikade Church today.
The minister inspected the damaged church premises. The minister later spoke to the media.
As the Ministry of Cultural Affairs, we will begin preparations from today to help reconstruct the sacred monuments that was the target of a terrorist attack. We will not obstruct any legal or judicial action on the incident during the reconstruction. This church is a sacred place. It is an important place of worship. I pledge to the hundreds and thousands of Catholics across the country, I will begin the reconstruction of these places of worship and hand it over to the Catholic devotees in the country. That is the reason why I visited this location after the police and other investigations into the matter have concluded. Without causing hindrance to the investigations, we will obtain the advice of the Cardinal and reconstruct these holy places of worship.
World leaders stood united in their condemnation of the blasts.
Paris held a candlelight vigil to honor the victims of the Easter bombings in Sri Lanka. The Real Madrid football team observed a minute's silence in memory of the victims of the terror attacks.
In your international news, Ukrainian comedian Zelensky has won a landslide victory in the country's presidential election.
The polls give the political newcomer, who dominated the first round of voting 3 weeks ago, more than 70% of support.